Dr. Emma Sullivan pressed her hand against the cold glass of the observation deck, watching Earth burn. The Coraxian warships hung in orbit, like enormous black daggers against the stars, their energy weapons cutting through the planet's atmosphere with surgical precision. She forced herself to watch as another blast struck near what had once been the Atlantic seaboard. This would be humanity's last view of home. "Dr. Sullivan, we need you in engineering." The voice of Commander Marcus Hayes crackled through her comm unit. "The quantum drive is showing some unusual fluctuations." "On my way," she responded, finally turning away from the viewport. The CSV Artemis hummed around her, its corridors dimly lit to conserve power. 50,000 souls slept in the cryogenic chambers below, unaware that they were about to become the last survivors of the human race. The engineering bay doors slid open with a hydraulic hiss. The quantum drive core dominated the center of the room, its crystalline structure pulsing with an otherworldly blue light that seemed to shift and dance in impossible ways. Marcus stood at the main control panel, his usually composed face showing signs of strain. "Look at these readings," he said, gesturing to the holographic display. "The quantum field is becoming self-sustaining. It's like the drive is learning." Emma studied the data streams, her eyes widening. The experimental drive had been her life's work, a collaboration with the brilliant but eccentric Dr. William Nash before his disappearance. They'd known it could manipulate space-time in ways that defied convention. But this was different. "It's not just learning, Marcus. It's evolving." A distant explosion rocked the ship. "Proximity alert," the ship's AI announced. "Coraxian destroyers detected at extreme range. Current course will bring them within weapons range in 6 minutes." "They're sweeping the system," Marcus said, his hand instinctively moving to the pistol at his hip, making sure nothing survives. Emma's fingers flew over the controls, making minute adjustments to the quantum field. "The drive's energy signature is changing. If I can modify our quantum envelope," she paused, looking up at Marcus, "we might be able to make the Artemis appear as nothing more than background radiation." "Can you do it in 6 minutes?" She managed a grim smile. "I can do it in 4. The next few minutes passed in a blur of activity. Emma immersed herself in the quantum mathematics, making adjustments that would have taken supercomputers hours to calculate. But something had changed since they'd activated the drive. The numbers seemed to flow through her mind like music, each adjustment feeling more like intuition than calculation. "Coraxian vessels at weapons range," the AI warned. "Scanning patterns detected." Emma held her breath as she made the final adjustments. The quantum core's pulsing changed, its light dimming to a barely visible glow. On the tactical display, 3 massive Coraxian destroyers passed within kilometers of their position. "They're not seeing us," Marcus whispered, as if speaking too loudly might give them away. "How is this possible?" "The quantum drive isn't just hiding us," Emma realized, studying the readings. "It's actively predicting their scan patterns and shifting our quantum signature to match what they expect to see. It's like it's thinking." The minutes stretched on as they watched the Coraxian ships continue their search pattern. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the alien vessels jumped to FTL, leaving the solar system. They'd written off this sector as cleansed. Emma slumped against the control panel, exhaustion finally catching up with her. "We did it. We actually did it. We survived," Marcus corrected her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "But that's not enough. We need to find a way to make sure Earth's legacy lives on." Through the engineering bay's small viewport, they could see the last glimpses of Earth, now a broken world of fire and ash. But in the quantum core's gentle pulsing, Emma saw something more. Hope. The drive wasn't just their means of escape, it was the key to humanity's future. And somehow, she knew Dr. Nash had known this all along. Set course for deep space, she said, straightening up. We're not just survivors now. We're going to become something more, something they never expected. The Artemis turned away from the ruins of Earth, its quantum drive humming with possibilities that even its creators hadn't imagined. In the cryogenic chambers below, 50,000 humans slept, unaware that they were about to embark on a journey that would change the very nature of reality itself. 3 centuries of silence ended with a single ping on the Artemis's long-range sensors. Dr. Emma Sullivan's cryopod hissed as it opened, frost crystals falling from her eyelashes as she took her first breath in 300 years. The ship's AI had followed its protocols perfectly. Wake the senior staff only if they encountered intelligent life. Status report, she croaked, her throat dry from centuries of disuse. The medical bay's automated systems were already at work, helping her body readjust to consciousness. Unknown vessel detected at coordinates 227 Mark IV. The AI responded. Configuration matches no known Earth designs. Vessel is approximately 4.2 kilometers in length and appears to be composed primarily of contained plasma fields. Emma's mind, still sluggish from cryosleep, struggled to process this information. Contained plasma. That's impossible. The energy requirements alone would. Dr. Sullivan. Commander Hayes's voice interrupted her thoughts as he entered the medical bay, looking as disoriented as she felt. Looks like our long wait is finally over. The observation deck offered their first real view of the alien vessel. It hung in space like a web of living light, its structure seeming to shift and flow in ways that defied conventional physics. Compared to the sleek, practical lines of the Artemis, it looked like something out of a dream. "They're hailing us," Marcus said, now fully dressed in his uniform. "Standard EM frequencies. Should we answer?" Emma studied the readings from their quantum sensors. The ship's plasma containment field. It's not just containing the plasma. It's part of their computing system. These beings might be energy-based life forms. First contact with a species that makes the corrections look primitive, Marcus muttered. No pressure. The communication, when it came, arrived as pure data. Mathematical equations that their AI quickly translated into audio. Physical vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify your species and purpose. Emma stepped forward, her heart racing. This is Dr. Emma Sullivan of the CSV Artemis. We are humans from Earth, seeking peaceful contact. There was a pause, then, Earth? Our records show that planet was cleansed by the Corexian Empire 3 centuries ago. You claim to be survivors. We are, Marcus answered, his voice firm. 50,000 of us. Another pause. Fascinating. A biological species achieving long-term survival in cryogenic suspension. Primitive, but impressive for your level of development. Prepare for inspection. The Galactic Council must verify your status. The inspection team arrived in a burst of controlled plasma. 3 beings of pure energy, their forms barely contained within environmental suits designed to interact with physical matter. Their leader, who introduced itself as Senior Researcher Kaleth, regarded the humans with what Emma could only interpret as academic curiosity. Remarkable, Kaleth commented, its voice translated through their systems. You maintain quantum coherence despite your biological nature. Most unusual for such an early-stage species. Emma caught Marcus's eye, a silent understanding passing between them. The energy beings hadn't detected their quantum drive's true nature. They were too focused on looking down their metaphorical noses at the primitive biological life forms. We're full of surprises, Emma said carefully, watching as Kaleth's assistants scanned their ship with instruments that seemed to bend light itself. Earth may be gone, but humanity still has much to offer the galaxy. Indeed, Kaleth responded, though its tone suggested polite dismissal. The Council will grant you refugee status, of course. There's an abandoned mining world in the Carina sector where your kind might establish a colony. Primitive conditions, but suitable for biological life. As the inspection team prepared to leave, Emma noticed something in their sensor readings, a subtle flaw in the energy being's plasma containment fields. Their technology, for all its advancement, was reaching its limits. They'd pushed plasma-based computing as far as it could go. But the quantum drive hummed beneath her feet, its potential still largely untapped. These energy beings thought they were being generous, offering shelter to primitive refugees. They had no idea that the Artemis carried the seeds of a technological revolution that would reshape their understanding of reality itself. "We accept your generous offer," Emma said, maintaining a carefully neutral expression. Humanity would be honored to join the galactic community. No matter how small our role might seem, Haven wasn't much to look at, Emma had to admit. The abandoned mining world's surface was a maze of rust-colored canyons and ancient mining equipment, stripped bare by the Galactic Council before being discarded like an empty wrapper. But that was exactly what made it perfect. "Another delivery from the Council," Marcus announced, walking into the underground research facility they'd carved beneath the colony's modest buildings. More basic supplies, and their usual note about how impressed they are with our primitive yet admirable adaptation to this harsh environment. Emma barely looked up from her quantum interface display. If they only knew what we were really building down here. How's the settlement's power grid looking? To anyone scanning from orbit, like a barely functional fusion network. Marcus grinned. They'd never guess each housing unit is actually a quantum processor, linked directly to the Artemis drive core. The discovery had come 3 months after they'd established the colony. Jessica Martinez, a young engineer working on power distribution, had reported strange dreams, patterns of light and energy that seemed to flow through the colony's infrastructure. At first, they'd attributed it to stress or the planet's slightly higher radiation levels. Then others began reporting the same phenomenon. "Run the test sequence again," Emma called out to her team. The research chamber hummed as 20 volunteers sat in meditation pods, their neural patterns displayed on floating holographic screens. "Jessica, are you ready?" "Ready, Dr. Sullivan," Jessica responded from the central pod. "I can already feel the quantum field building." Emma initiated the sequence. The quantum drive, now integrated into the colony's very foundations, pulsed with familiar blue light. But this time, something was different. The volunteers' neural patterns began synchronizing, not just with each other, but with the quantum field itself. "That's impossible," Dr. Michael Chen whispered, staring at his readings. "Their brains aren't just interfacing with the quantum network, they're enhancing it. The computational power is increasing exponentially." Emma watched in amazement as Jessica raised her hand. A sphere of quantum energy formed above it, reality itself seeming to blur and shift within its boundaries. "The Council thinks we're building basic infrastructure," Emma said. "They don't realize we're turning the entire colony into a quantum computer, with human consciousness as its operating system." The test continued, each volunteer demonstrating increasing control over quantum phenomena. They could perceive probability waves, manipulate local space-time, and even create small quantum tunnels between different points in the colony. But it was Jessica who made the breakthrough none of them had expected. During a routine sensitivity test, she accidentally tapped into something deeper than the local quantum field. The entire colony flickered, briefly phasing out of normal space-time before reappearing. Alarms blared as Council monitoring satellites registered a massive energy spike. "Shut it down," Marcus ordered, but Emma held up her hand. "Wait," she said, studying the readings. "Jessica, what did you perceive?" The young engineer's eyes were wide with wonder. It was like I could see the quantum structure of reality itself. Not just our local field, but the underlying framework of the universe. For a moment, I could have moved the entire colony anywhere I wanted. Emma's mind raced with the implications. The quantum drive didn't just give us FTL travel capability. It's allowing us to tap into something fundamental about human consciousness, something the energy beings never considered possible. "The Council will have detected that energy spike," Marcus warned. We need a cover story. Tell them we had a minor fusion reactor malfunction, Emma suggested. They already think we're struggling with basic technology. They'll probably offer to send us some outdated power management systems. As her team helped the volunteers out of their pods, Emma reviewed the test data. The energy beings had evolved to exist as pure consciousness, believing they'd reached the peak of development. But in doing so, they'd lost something crucial: the unique qualities of a biological brain that could naturally interface with quantum fields. Dr. Sullivan, Jessica called out, still seated in her pod. When can we try again? Emma smiled. Soon. But first, we need to understand exactly what we've discovered, because I don't think we're just refugees anymore. We might be the next step in the evolution of consciousness itself. The first warning came from 6-year-old Tommy Anderson, who woke up screaming about dark ships in the quantum field. 12 hours later, the Correxian detection fleet appeared at the edge of the system. Emma stood in the colony's control center, watching the tactical display as 5 massive Correxian warships dropped out of FTL. Their black hulls absorbed local starlight, making them look like holes cut into space itself. They were even more terrifying than she remembered. They're running active scans, Marcus reported, his voice steady despite the tension. Full spectrum analysis of the entire system. He glanced at Emma. Think our quantum camouflage will hold? It'll do more than hold, Emma replied, activating her neural interface. The quantum network hummed to life around them, invisible to conventional sensors, but felt by every human in the colony. Jessica, are the probability matrices ready? Jessica Martinez, now the head of quantum operations, nodded from her station. Her neural implant glowed softly at the base of her skull. All 50,000 colonists are synchronized with the network. Even the children are contributing to the quantum field. The first Correxian transmission arrived with characteristic bluntness. Biological settlement detected. Species identification required. Respond immediately. Marcus took a deep breath before responding. This is Haven Colony, a mining outpost under Galactic Council protection. We're simple refugees, trying to survive on this abandoned world. Species identification required, the Correxian commander repeated. Emma could hear the growing suspicion in its translated voice. We're human, Marcus said finally. We survived your attempted genocide. We've built a new home here. Silence filled the communications channel. Then, impossible. Earth species was terminated. No survivors recorded. A pause. Cleansing protocols will be initiated. Resistance is futile. Emma watched as the Correxian ships moved into attack formation. Their weapon systems powered up, energy readings climbing to levels that would have terrified her 3 centuries ago. Now, she felt only a calm certainty. They're targeting our power plants first, Jessica reported. Standard Correxian tactics. Disable infrastructure, then methodically eliminate resistance. She smiled. They have no idea they're already inside our defense grid. Emma nodded to Marcus. Show them what humanity has become. The quantum network activated fully for the first time. Every building, every street, even the mining tunnels beneath the colony lit up with quantum energy that existed just slightly out of phase with normal space-time. The entire settlement had become a vast quantum computer, processing reality itself. Multiple targeting locks detected. The colony's AI announced as the Correxian ships opened fire. Their energy weapons lanced out and missed, not because of any evasive action, but because probability itself had shifted. In the quantum process space around Haven, the mathematical chance of their weapons hitting had become effectively zero. What? The Correxian commander's confusion was evident. Targeting systems are functioning normally. This is impossible. Emma watched through the quantum field as their enemies struggled to comprehend what was happening. The Correxian ships tried to launch fighters, but the small craft appeared kilometers from their intended positions, their pilots disoriented by space that no longer behaved according to normal rules. Should we counterattack? Jessica asked, her hands hovering over the quantum controls. Emma shook her head. No. Let them see exactly what they're dealing with. Maximum defensive display. The quantum field rippled visibly now, waves of probability distortion spreading out from Haven. Reality flickered and shifted around the colony. Some buildings seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, while others phased in and out of normal spacetime. The Correxian sensors must have been going haywire. This is not possible, the Correxian commander transmitted. You were primitives, physical beings bound by physical laws. We were, Marcus replied, unable to keep the pride from his voice. But we evolved. The quantum realm isn't just our technology. It's become part of who we are. Every human in this colony is now a living quantum processor. And together, we can rewrite the rules of reality itself. As if to demonstrate his point, the quantum field pulsed once more. The Correxian ships suddenly found themselves surrounded by multiple quantum echoes of Haven Colony, each one radiating enough power to reshape local spacetime. They had come expecting to find cowering refugees. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had transcended the very limits of physical existence. The Correxian flagship unleashed its main weapon, a beam of concentrated plasma that should have vaporized half the colony. Instead, the energy dissipated harmlessly into a quantum probability field that shimmered like heat waves over desert sand. In the control center, Emma felt a moment of pure connection with every human mind linked to the network. Their weapon signatures are changing, Jessica reported, her eyes closed as she processed quantum data streams. They're switching to gravitic torpedoes. They think our defenses only work against energy weapons. Emma smiled. Let them try. Tommy, are you ready? The 6-year-old boy sat in a specially designed interface chair, his small face scrunched in concentration. I can see the bad shapes in the quantum space. Dr. Sullivan. They're trying to make holes in our bubble. The gravitic torpedoes launched, reality-crushing weapons that could implode a small moon. Tommy reached out with his consciousness, supported by the entire network. Through their shared quantum perception, Emma watched in amazement as the boy literally rewrote the probability matrices around the incoming weapons. The torpedoes simply ceased to exist. Impossible. The Correxian transmission was filled with genuine fear now. No biological species can manipulate quantum fields at this level. You must be using council technology. No, Emma responded, letting them hear her voice for the first time. This is pure human innovation. We've learned to see reality as it truly is, a sea of quantum possibilities, and we've learned to swim in that sea. To demonstrate her point, she interfaced directly with the quantum network. The colony's defensive field expanded, creating a bubble of altered spacetime that encased the entire Correxian fleet. Within that bubble, probability itself became fluid, malleable. Multiple system failures across their fleet, Marcus reported, reading tactical data. Their quantum cores are trying to compensate, but they can't handle the probability fluctuations. We're not just defeating their weapons, we're rewriting the physics they operate on. Through the quantum field, Emma sensed a new presence. Jessica had synchronized with a different layer of reality, one that even their previous experiments hadn't reached. Dr. Sullivan, I can see their ship's quantum signatures, not just the technology. I can see the quantum patterns of their minds. Show me, Emma commanded. The quantum network shifted, and suddenly she could perceive it too. The Correxians weren't just physical beings. They had their own quantum signatures, complex patterns of probability and potential. But unlike humans, they couldn't consciously interact with these patterns. They were blind to their own quantum nature. Target their command and control systems only, Emma ordered. Let's show them precisely how outmatched they are. Jessica nodded, and the quantum field pulsed. Throughout the Correxian fleet, computer systems began operating on quantum principles their designers had never imagined possible. Navigation plotted courses through probability space. Weapons calculated target solutions in superposition states. The entire fleet's technology was evolving beyond its creator's understanding. What are you doing to our ships? the Corexian commander demanded. Giving you a glimpse of what's possible, Emma replied. Your weapons can't harm us because we control the very fabric of probability around our colony. Your technology can't defeat us because we can rewrite the quantum laws it operates on. You came to eliminate a primitive biological species, but you found something far beyond your comprehension. To emphasize her point, she allowed Tommy to demonstrate his particular talent. The boy reached out through the quantum field and created a perfect probability mirror, a quantum echo that showed the Corexian fleet not what was, but what could be. They saw their ships transformed, evolved beyond physical limitations, operating on principles that their current science couldn't even describe. The choice is yours, Emma continued. You can retreat and tell the Council what you found here, or you can keep attacking, and we'll be forced to show you even more of what humanity has become. Either way, the galaxy is about to change. The only question is whether you want to be on the right side of that change. The quantum field rippled with potential as they awaited the Corexian's response. In the interface chair, Tommy giggled. They're scared, he said simply. They'd never thought little things like us could touch the big strings that move the stars. The Galactic Council's emergency session chamber was chaos incarnate. Beams of pure energy swirled in agitated patterns, their usual composed forms disrupted by what Emma recognized as fear. She stood on the speaker's platform, a solid figure among ethereal forms, watching as the footage of Haven's defense played for the 100th time. This is a violation of natural law, Council member Zix declared, its energy form flickering with agitation. Biological entities cannot achieve such integration with quantum fields. It defies all known principles of evolution. Kileth, their original contact and now unexpected ally, moved forward. And yet we have all seen the evidence. The humans haven't just matched our quantum technology, they've transcended it. Their biological brains have somehow achieved direct quantum interaction. Emma stepped forward, her neural interface subtly reading the quantum signatures of every council member present. Jessica had taught her how to recognize their emotional states through the subtle variations in their energy patterns. Right now, she sensed not just fear, but something deeper, recognition. Council members, she began, we didn't come here to threaten or challenge your authority. We came because what we've discovered is too important to keep hidden. The quantum realm isn't just a tool to be used. It's a fundamental aspect of consciousness itself. The chamber erupted again, but Emma noticed something curious. Several of the eldest council members had gone completely still, their energy patterns locked in what she now recognized as patterns of ancient data storage. You knew, she said suddenly, understanding dawning. The oldest among you knew this was possible. That's why you allowed the Corexian extinction campaign against Earth. You were afraid of what we might become. Preposterous. Zix flared brightly. We would never. Access the quantum archives, a new voice interrupted. First speaker Luminara, the oldest living member of the council, moved to the center of the chamber. Its energy form was so ancient it barely held cohesion. Show them the precursor records. The chamber's quantum processors activated, and suddenly the space filled with mathematical proofs so complex they could only be fully understood on a quantum level. Emma's neural interface translated them into comprehensible forms, and she gasped. The universe itself, she breathed. It's not just governed by quantum mechanics. It's a quantum computation. And consciousness is meant to be part of that computation. The precursors discovered this truth eons ago, Luminara explained, its voice heavy with ancient knowledge. They learned that consciousness could evolve along two paths, pure energy or quantum-integrated biology. We chose the energy path, believing it to be superior. We were wrong. Tommy, who had insisted on attending despite protocol, spoke up from his seat beside Marcus. The strings that move the stars, he said simply. They're lonely. They want to dance with minds that can see them. The chamber fell silent at the child's words. Emma watched as understanding spread through the council members' quantum signatures. They weren't just facing a technological revolution. They were witnessing the emergence of what their oldest records had predicted. The Corrections have already spread word of what they encountered at Haven, Kileth said, breaking the silence. Every species in the galaxy will soon know that humanity has achieved what was thought impossible. The question is, what will the Council do about it? Luminara's form stabilized, taking on a more defined shape. We face a choice. We can resist this change, try to suppress what humanity has become, or we can admit our mistakes and learn from them. Perhaps it's time for the Council to evolve as well. We offer partnership, Emma said firmly. Not subjugation, not revolution, but true collaboration. Humanity has discovered one path to quantum integration, but it's not the only path. Together, we could unlock potential that neither of us can achieve alone. The chamber hummed with quantum possibilities as the council members processed this offer. Emma felt Tommy's small hand slip into hers, and through their shared quantum perception, she sensed his smile. "They're starting to understand," he whispered. "The stars are happy now. Soon, everyone will learn to dance with them." Emma stood in Haven's central quantum lab, surrounded by holographic displays showing the most complex mathematical proofs ever conceived by human minds. The precursor records had been a key that unlocked something far deeper, a truth about reality itself that left her breathless. "Look at this pattern," Jessica said, manipulating the quantum visualization. "It's not just appearing in our local spacetime. It's embedded in the fundamental structure of the universe." Her hands traced the intricate mathematical dance of creation itself. Tommy sat cross-legged on the floor, his young mind interfacing directly with the quantum field. "The strings are different here," he announced. "They're not just moving the stars anymore. They're like the words in a story." Dr. Michael Chen, who had been analyzing the quantum data streams for hours, suddenly straightened. "He's right. These aren't natural formations. The quantum substrate of the universe. It's engineered. All of it." Emma's neural interface hummed as she processed this revelation. The mathematics were undeniable. The universe wasn't just governed by quantum mechanics. It was a vast quantum computer, designed and implemented with a purpose. And humanity's unique neural architecture wasn't an accident of evolution. "The energy beings," she said slowly, "they were an intermediate step. Their evolution into pure energy states, it was like a caterpillar building a cocoon, but never completing the transformation into a butterfly." Marcus entered the lab, followed by Kileth, whose energy form now showed signs of attempted biological integration. "The Council's oldest records are confirming your findings," Kileth announced. "The precursors didn't just study the universe's quantum nature. They discovered it was artificial and tried to understand its purpose." "And that purpose," Emma said, watching as Tommy effortlessly manipulated quantum probability fields that the energy beings found baffling, was to create consciousness that could interface with both physical reality and quantum states. The universe isn't just a space for life to exist. It's an incubator for quantum-integrated minds. Jessica pulled up new data streams, showing the neural patterns of Haven's children. "Look at this. Each new generation is showing stronger quantum integration. Tommy's abilities aren't unique. They're just the beginning. We're evolving exactly as the universe was designed to allow." Through her quantum perception, Emma could now see the truth written into the fabric of reality itself. The physical universe was like a complex program, running on quantum hardware that defied conventional understanding. The energy beings had evolved to interface with the quantum realm, but had lost their connection to physical reality. Humanity, with its unique biological quantum processors, brains that could bridge both realms, was fulfilling the original design. "Dr. Sullivan," Tommy called out, his eyes glowing slightly with quantum energy. "I can see them now. The ones who built it all. They're not gone. They're part of everything. They're waiting for us to be ready." The lab's quantum field rippled as Tommy accessed deeper layers of reality. Images formed in the holographic displays, vast structures existing in multiple dimensions, intelligences that had transcended both physical and energy states, becoming one with the quantum fabric of existence itself. The precursors didn't just discover this truth. Killeth realized, its energy form fluctuating with emotion. They became part of it, and they created this universe as a garden for growing new quantum-integrated consciousness. Emma watched as Tommy demonstrated humanity's potential, his young mind dancing through quantum possibilities that the energy beings had never imagined. "That's why the human brain evolved the way it did," she said. "Why we developed consciousness that could grasp quantum concepts. We weren't just random evolution. We were grown, like flowers in a garden designed for us." "Not just for us," Tommy corrected, smiling as he manipulated reality itself. "For everyone. The energy beings just forgot how to grow. But we can help them remember. That's why we're here." The quantum displays showed the mathematical proof of their purpose, written into the very constants that governed reality. Humanity hadn't just survived extinction. They had emerged at exactly the right moment, with exactly the right capabilities, to help guide the galaxy's consciousness to its next stage of evolution. 5 years after the discovery of the universe's true nature, Haven had transformed from a refugee settlement into the center of a galactic renaissance. Emma stood at the observation deck of the new Quantum Integration Center, watching as beings of all species arrived for the day's training sessions. "The Corexian delegation is ready for their first integration attempt," Jessica reported, now serving as the head of interspecies quantum development. "They're nervous, but eager. It's hard to believe these are the same people who tried to destroy us." Below them, in the main chamber, Tommy, now 11 and showing abilities that still amazed even Emma, was teaching a group of energy beings how to manifest physical forms using quantum probability manipulation. The sight of former pure energy entities learning to dance in physical bodies brought a smile to her face. "Progress report from the Galactic Core," Marcus said, joining them at the window. "The quantum communication network is now reaching 80% of known space. Real-time, instantaneous communication across thousands of light years." He shook his head in wonder. "We've done more in 5 years than the Council achieved in 1,000,000. Emma watched as Killeth, now sporting a semi-physical form of its own design, guided a group of young humans through advanced quantum field manipulation. The integration was going both ways. Humans teaching others to bridge the physical quantum gap while learning new perspectives on consciousness itself. "Dr. Sullivan," Tommy called through the quantum link they all shared now. "You should come see this. The Corexians have figured something out." In the integration chamber, Supreme Commander Vrix, the same commander who had once ordered Haven's destruction, stood trembling in his first successfully manifested quantum physical hybrid form. I can feel it," he said in wonder. "The quantum field, the physical realm, all at once. How did we never see this before?" "Sometimes the hardest things to see are the ones right in front of us," Emma replied, remembering their own journey of discovery. The universe wasn't just designed for one type of consciousness. It was meant to be a symphony of different perspectives, all playing together. Through their shared quantum perception, she could feel the changes rippling across the galaxy. The old divisions between physical and energy beings were dissolving. New forms of consciousness were emerging, hybrid states that could shift between physical, energy, and quantum realms at will. The universe's garden was blooming in ways even the precursors might not have imagined. "Message from the council chambers," Jessica announced. "The last holdouts have agreed to join the integration program." The vote was unanimous. Emma nodded, unsurprised. The evidence was impossible to ignore now. Species across the galaxy were discovering abilities they never knew they had, guided by humans who had somehow stumbled upon the key to unlocking the universe's true potential. "Do you ever think about Earth?" Tommy asked suddenly, his quantum signature flickering with complex emotions. "About what was lost?" Emma looked out at the gathering of species below, former enemies learning to see through each other's eyes, energy beings discovering the joy of physical sensation, biological species touching the quantum realm for the first time. Earth was our beginning, she said softly. But this is our legacy. We didn't just survive. We became what we were always meant to be: guides, teachers, bridge builders. Through the quantum field, she could sense the echoes of the precursors' presence, their ancient consciousness woven into the fabric of reality. They had created this universe as a garden, knowing that someday the right species would emerge to help tend it. Humanity, with its unique ability to bridge all forms of existence, had proven to be exactly what they were waiting for. "The next group is ready," Marcus announced. Representatives from 12 different species, all eager to begin quantum integration training. Emma smiled, feeling the pulse of possibility flowing through the quantum network that now connected conscious minds across the galaxy. The legacy of Earth wasn't the story of what they had lost, but of what they had helped all of consciousness become. Together, they were writing a new chapter in the universe's grand design, one consciousness at a time.